Hey fam, I wanted to do this video regarding the current status of black youth in America today. And it's partially because of this new trend, for lack of a better word, of the Facebook Live shootings, which one of my subscribers brought to my attention that I wasn't even aware of. And I just, in researching it, I realized that, wow, it's so much bigger than just that, but now it's gotten real. And so we don't have to worry about the police shooting us anymore, although in one of the Facebook Live videos, it was indeed a police officer who shot a man and killed him in front of his family. But the other ones that I found, and most of them, were of black people killing each other. So I need to do this video because even though I've done several videos directed at the youth, and I know I'm becoming repetitive, I'm going to keep repeating myself until you get it. Now, in terms of the Facebook Live shootings, I have to say this. With the advent of social media, those of you who choose to be about that life, you should know that your biggest secret followers are going to be your haters. So if you choose to do a Facebook Live video, your haters are watching it too. And they know where you are because they're usually from your hood. So if they see on Facebook Live that you're on the corner of 125th and 8th Avenue, they know where you are. They know you're going to be there a minute because you're shooting a video. And they're going to come after you, especially if that was something they had been planning to do anyway. So my advice to you, aside from the fact that you shouldn't be about that life anyway, because it's not a life, and most of you who are about that life are going to be about no life at all. So what's the point of doing what you do to get money that you're never going to live to spend? But since I know that I'm preaching to the choir, keep it off social media. Whatever it is that you're doing, keep it off social media, especially when you're doing the wrong things and you know you have enemies out there because of something you've done. And it never ends. You do something to somebody, well, their people are going to come and do something to you. That's how the game goes. And sometimes they come and do something to you without you doing anything to anybody, just because you're in front of a camera bragging. So you want to keep what you have to yourself. Some of you, oh, I'm so sick of those money pics where you've got to be in front of the camera with a wad of cash in your hand showing people that you have money. Fool, you've just showed the stick-up kid where to get his next Vic. Okay, I don't want to elaborate on that because I don't respect that life. Even though I was about it, I'm not anymore and I no longer respect it. Why? A, I grew the hell up. B, I went to prison. And if that doesn't stop you, then nothing will. But 3, I saw too many people that I loved and respected die for the game. So it's really not a game. All right, it's bad enough you're already entering a world of prejudgment, but you can still refine yourself, black youth. Yeah, racism exists, and prejudice is going to be here until the end of time. But this should not be a stereotype that you can't outlive or pull down or deal with it, especially within your own social and social circles and groups. But you also have to know that just because society has branded you and they expect you to fail, doesn't mean you have to. Sure, there's going to always be those establishments that you're going to enter and try to purchase clothing or eat or what have you, and there's going to be some ignorant person who has a job there, and they probably come from some one horse town where they grew up with no black people, and all they know is the stereotypes that they see on TV, and they're going to treat you poorly. But guess what? They're at the bottom of a very high totem pole, and you don't have to put up with their crap. But reacting ignorantly like them is not the answer. You either go to the management, and then if you get no satisfaction there, you find out who owns the establishment. Because heads up, most businesses, actually I would say all businesses that open for business, is because they want your business. They want to make money. And in this age of social media and business rating sites like Yelp and other places where you can go online and actually talk about how you were treated in these places and talk about the service and the staff, they don't want anything negative, because negative reviews means loss of business. So even if you cannot reach the top in person or get satisfaction at that level, you can always go online and find the companies and find the corporate offices. And in most cases, you can call them and get the email at the very least of the person who's running things, the CEO and the people who are the money people. And I guarantee you, you will get satisfaction. So there's always a way around the BS. And I, for one, I know, I have a comment that I put on an Oprah video regarding, she was crying about some store in France where they didn't want to sell her a bag. And I commented how I had an incident at a store, which I'm not going to name, because it was resolved to my satisfaction. But I went in and I was dressed nicely and I had money to buy what I wanted to. But this ignorant sales girl didn't want to assist me because she assumed right off the bat, because I was black, that I was broke. And it was during a time when I had truckloads of money. And so I got offended, but I took it to the top. And I wound up getting extreme courtesy and help for my purchases. They even carried my purchases for me because that's good business. Okay, I don't want to elaborate on that too much more, but the other thing I want to say to the black youth is that don't let anyone ever question your blackness. It's nobody's right. Whether you're rich or poor, whether you dress preppy or hood, your blackness is not going to go away. And you, black youth, you have to learn very early that race is really just about what this world has made a social construction of. It's not, because they say it's so, doesn't make it so. And so any experience that you encounter based on the color of your skin, it has nothing to do with your personal expression. It has to do with the mindset of whatever person is giving you the grief at the time based on it. And so it shouldn't matter whether you use proper grammar or whether you choose to talk in slang. It doesn't make you any less or any more black than anyone else. And I know for a fact that there are other races who talk in slang, who dress hip hop, but this video is directed at the black youth. And so I want to say to you this. I don't necessarily have a problem with texting because people will and do text. What I have a problem with is the ebonics involved in texting where people who actually don't know how to spell. Because I've seen people who The way they talk when they're texting is also the way that they write a letter. It's also the way that they put a comment online on different posts and so forth. And it's because they really don't know how to spell the words. I have a problem with that. I think it's okay to be cool. I was young, we were cool. But I think that you should also bother to get an education. Because when you get out into that real world, you're going to need to know how to spell. And most people are not going to tell you, especially if they have nothing to gain by educating you. They're not going to point out to you that you can't spell, because they're not going to risk offending you or, you know, having to get into some altercation with you about this. Unfortunately, a lot of people who are ignorant don't even realize that they're ignorant. And in this modern age of spell check, you would think that people would think, hey, maybe, what does that mean? Does that mean I spelled the word wrong? And then they'll rectify it. But some people are too proud to be corrected and would rather remain ignorant. I have a neighbor, actually, who's exactly like that, and he's an old man. And I limit my talking to him because he will argue me down about something that he's wrong about, but he doesn't want to be corrected. So I don't do it anymore. I thought we were friends, and I thought as a friend that, especially this man, he's got a bunch of kids, and they're adults, but I'm just saying, it just bothered me that at his age, because he's close to my age, that he was so ignorant. And when I realized that he actually got to the point where it was like fighting words, I didn't bother, because who needs that? So I'm saying to you that people are not going to help you per se. You've got to help yourself. And then people may offer to help you after they see that you're at least trying to be better. So start with paying attention in school and getting an education. Now, another thing that I need you to be mindful of is that success doesn't only come via fame and fortune, but it also comes through hard work and integrity. Take it from someone who knows. Having money is fun, but it's not necessarily success. It's material wealth. And although most of it comes as a result of hard work and effort, it doesn't always come. Some of you have parents who worked hard all their lives and they're still broke. And some of you may work hard all your life and still not live in a mansion and live that life. But you should still be encouraged to value even the smallest victory in life. Graduating from high school is a victory. Getting a job, any job, is a victory, because that means that you were able to convince someone to pay you to provide your service. So, individual goals, when they are accomplished, they are more of a success than monetary acknowledgement. And guess what? Athletes and entertainers, they're not the only role models. Search for people who have done something significant within your community and elsewhere. Rosa Parks wasn't a singer or a rapper or a dancer. Martin Luther King certainly didn't play basketball. For every girl that wants to be like Beyonce and every dude out there who thinks he's the next LeBron James, think outside the box, because this may not be your calling and it may not be your gift. And although those people, they've done some noteworthy things. I mean, people sell lots of albums. That's noteworthy. And, you know, it's something to be proud of. But you, black youth, have to see yourselves off the court and off the stage and in fields other than entertainment and sports, because there are a lot of places where you can be making a difference. You can be an innovation. There are community endeavors that you can be about and enact real change. And you could become some young child's hero by virtue of building up your community and doing things in your community that will have people see your contributions. And I blame my generation for this because it happened a lot in my generation, and I believe it was just passed on, is that parents tell boys, oh, you can't cry, you're a boy. And a lot of times girls were told, oh, you need to grow up and find a husband. And the implication was that you needed a man to save you. And both of these things are untrue. A boy can cry and still grow up to be a very strong man. I actually think it takes a strong man to be able to cry and not be ashamed of it, because pain is real. So you don't have to hide that to prove that you're a man. And we women don't need a man to take care of us. And I see a serious revert of our thinking back to those times where today a lot of young women are looking for ballers and people to take care of them. And I think this is also why you see more and more young women out in the street dressed seductively, and in some cases just dressed like a tramp, because they think this is what it takes to attract these, quote, ballers. And I've got to tell you, girls, that's not what it takes, because chances are that man with money, especially if he has any type of class, he's not going to be wanting to walk around with you looking like a whore. And you're definitely not going to go meet mama in that outfit. The other thing is that, on a personal note, I eat in a lot of outdoor cafes, and this is where they have the tables right on the sidewalk. So as these people are walking around with their ass out, and including, although I'm not talking about them right now, but including you men with your jeans sagging, I don't want to have my meal with someone's ass walking by my plate out. So it's if you're not embarrassed, people are embarrassed for you. The other side of the coin is that I talked earlier about not being respected when you walk into places of business. Well, guess what? Heads up. If you walk into a classy place looking like a whore, chances are they're going to call security and get you out of there. Unless you're Beyonce or Nicki or one of these other famous entertainers that people know, you're not going to be welcome there. And the only reason they're welcome there is because they are spending money. Chances are, if you see Beyonce walking into Four Seasons with her little short outfits or some other revealing thing, she's got a room there, and she may even be performing there. But guaranteed there is some money to be made. And there are other places where they don't give a damn who you are. You're not going to walk in their place inappropriately dressed. I know for a fact a couple of restaurants that I have went to in the past where they had ties at the front door for men who came in without a tie. And if you wanted to eat there and spend your money, you had to follow their rules. It was their house and their rules. So that's part of playing the game. You have to dress for the game. You don't just jump in the game in anything. You wear your game gear. And that's for another video, but just a heads up. Okay, I think in terms of oppressive gender roles and norms in the community, I think we need to start early. And youth, black youth in particular, need to step outside of these negative constructs in order to be more self reliant. And like I said, that is part of the game. Once you get to the top of your game, you can dress how you wish because you're running things. But until you get there, you got to play the game. And part of that game is education. It's going to always be essential, no matter what type of hustle you choose in life. You're going to need to be smart. I think this generation has created a culture where the assumption is that college isn't for everyone. And you have a lot of people who don't even think they need to finish high school. Well, no matter what you choose to do in life, being smart is not something that you just, you finish high school or you finish college and then you check it off the list. You need to consider it as a lifelong pursuit. You should always be seeking ways to step up your game. And when I say that, let me just say this. Do you know, I'm going to share a little secret with you that a lot of teachers and a lot of people will not tell you. I don't know why. I think it's terrible that people who have been successful do not share all their secrets. But this is one of the biggest secrets to success. So come a little closer. I'm going to tell you this. Success comes from doing the thing you love. If you do something you love, not only are you going to spend more time on it, you're going to become good at it. Because by virtue of you doing it every day, that's practice in disguise. So the more you practice, the better you get at it. Now, the other catch is that you love it. So what am I saying? I'm saying to you parents out there who are wasting money sending your kids to piano lessons and acting school and all of these other things that you envision them doing, if they don't like it, they're never going to be good at it because they're going to hate doing it. And many people who hate something, they won't do it often. As a matter of fact, they avoid it at every turn because they don't like it. And it's impossible to become good at something if you do not do it, because that is how you perfect the craft of whatever it is that you're attempting to become good at. So the secret, again, to becoming really successful at something is to choose something that you like, or better yet, that you love, and you will become good at it. You will become good, and as you practice and continue to do it, you will become great, and at some point, you may be better than everyone else at it. And those are the people who become successful. When you become better at something than everyone else, then you're at the top of your game. Okay, words are stronger than violence. And this, to me, happens to be one of the biggest things that is tearing apart the black community is the black on black violence. In my day, we had something that said, if you learn to walk away, you will live to see another day. And I never forgot that, because I cannot tell you how many times a simple disagreement resulted in someone being dead. And there is no coming back from that. You don't even have to use a gun or a knife. You can punch someone, and if they hit the cement and their head cracks open, they're dead. I can tell you, when I was in prison, there were so many women in there who were, their whole lives were over because of a silly fight over some stupid niggerish that resulted in the other person getting killed. And I can tell you, when we would have our groups and they would share, their stories, every single one of them said they wish they could go back and do things differently. But it's kind of late for that. So before you think that you've got to prove yourself how bad you are, and you've got to show this person who they're messing with, and you're going to make someone respect you, think again. And while you're thinking, think about this. You can't make somebody respect you. I've seen people who were beaten down to the ground and they still got up talking smack. So what should that tell you? That a fool is a fool is a fool. And beating them is not going to make them smart. The other thing is, not only do you lose your freedom, but they're the families of this person that you killed. People are losing fathers, they're losing sisters, they're losing mothers, cousins, brothers, sons. Your damage is far-reaching. And this also reaches into the psyche of people, because there are people within these family units, whether they're blood-related or just friends or peeps, that you hurt their people, they're going to come and hurt yours or you. So here we have that cycle. A lot of the gang violence is the result of someone who did something or dissed or hurt or shot or killed somebody's homeboy. And so now the retaliation is done for that. And then there's retaliation for whatever was done for that. And it just never ends. It has to end, people. It is better to walk away and have people think you're a punk than to spend your life in prison or possibly die because you didn't know how to walk away from an argument, because you just couldn't let the person have the last word. Who cares if they diss you? People diss me online every day. I get comments telling me I'm an idiot, I'm ugly, I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. And I never argue back with them because I don't care. If it's too offensive or I feel they're using too much foul language, then I just block them. That way I don't have to ever hear anything they have to say. But the bottom line is, you've got to learn when to be quiet. And that's hard if you have an ego that's out of control. And the streets will give you that ego, because you're going to always have your yes men and your yes people around you who are going to make you think that everything you say and do is right. But guess what? No one is always right. So you can't listen to these people, because chances are the only reason they're around you is because of whatever they're getting out of you. So if they're on your payroll, then of course they're going to worship and adore you. And if you are if you're famous in a lot of regards, you're going to have people, your fans, people who are going to stick by you no matter what. But you've got to know who you are, and you've got to know yourself, and you've got to learn self-control. And you've also got to chill out on the drugs and the alcohol, because a lot of people don't have courage, but that bottle of Jack gives them courage. Or that blunt, it'll give them courage. So all of a sudden, you've got this person who probably couldn't beat their way out of a paper bag, but when they get high or drunk or crunk, all of a sudden they're Superman. And you've got to recognize that too. Not only just in yourself, but within others. If that person is drunk and they're talking smack, remember, they're drunk. So you don't have to feed into it. The worst thing is when you have two drunks. So now you've got two people who are out of control, and it usually doesn't end well. Okay. Let your inner beauty be shown. And I'm talking to you females now. I know I mentioned earlier about being half naked. Well, I just want to say that you do not have to reveal your body to get people to look at you. As a matter of fact, because that is so prominent right now, young girls who are classy with it get more attention than those who are not. Because everybody's used to seeing that now. And it's like everything else. Once you've had too much of it, it's boring. So class it up, ladies. Save all that nakedness for your husband. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because the youth of today feel like this is the way they want to look because they're fashioning themselves after, you know, the people they see on their TV screens or wherever, what have you, on their devices. But those people are not out trying to get a job. And speaking of getting jobs, what is up with these ugly ass face tattoos? Really? I don't know a company on the planet, unless it's a tattoo parlor, that's going to hire you with that crap on your face. I don't want to give you my order. Hell no, because I just lost my appetite. So trust and believe it's not a good look. And when you finally get older, and you will, if you live to see old age, you're going to regret it. Because most of that artwork is irreversible. As a matter of fact, the only way you can get rid of it usually is through some type of surgery, and then you've got cuts and marks all over your face. So for those of you who are considering it, I say to you, please don't do it. All right. You're smart, and you're entitled to happiness just like anyone else in the world. Black youth. Believe that. I know many of you feel inferior, and you feel that life doesn't have much to offer you. And these feelings are fed by the media. They're fed by the conditions around you. But guess what? You are young. You are youth. So you've got a lot of time to get it right. And you start now. Get educated. Listen to some of the people that are trying to tell you things. And know that education and wiseness and knowledge can come from anybody. It doesn't, some of you sit in class and I don't know, why do you even bother going if you're not going to listen? So I'm saying to you, pay attention to what people are telling you. Learn the difference between the meat and the bones. They're going to be people who will talk and they'll give you a lot of stuff that maybe you don't need, but listen for the things that you do need. Because that's what's going to get you to the next level in life. I can tell you, I've learned things from a crackhead. I've learned things from a bum on the street. So never sleep on who the Lord puts in your life to give you a word, to give you a message, to give you guidance. Never sleep on the angels who are out there, who are trying to help you, but they cannot help you if you've already closed that door. If you've already put up this wall that nobody can get through, then you're never going to get any further than you already are. And I'm not saying society doesn't instigate in terms of dissing black youth, but you don't have to depend on society. And as a matter of fact, you don't need them at all. Help yourself. If you help yourself, then the universe will send people to help you. And the Lord will help you. Even without people, the Lord will send you the people that you need to help you. And sometimes He sends your enemies to be your footstools. The same people that hated you when you were growing up and in school, later in life, they could be the very ones that the Lord uses to help you. So you've got to remember how bright you are. And even if you're stupid today, you can become smart tomorrow. So never sleep on your own abilities. Discipline is necessary. And I would suggest that you start learning to discipline yourself so that you can receive what it is that is in your future. Because you do have a future if you want one. You can get one. And I hope that by me sharing these things with you, you have gained some type of insight into how you can change and be a better person, because you don't have to go out like that. The majority of what I'm giving you is based on an article that I read called The 10 Messages of Wisdom That We Need to Give to Black Youth Right Now. And it was written by a brother called Mr. Ernest Owens. So I want to just say here, thank you, Brother Owens, for giving me the blueprint for today's video. I didn't quote him verbatim. I actually used my own words, but I did research his article in terms of the advice that he was giving, because he is a young black brother himself. And I thought, who else to talk about how to help the black youth today than another black youth? And I know a lot of you youth out there, you don't want to hear from old people, but maybe you should. I'm going to end here with prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, help the young people to see that it is not a game out here. They call it a game. They call it the game, but it's not. It's nothing. The last thing it is a game, Lord. And they're dying. They're dying every day between the police corruption and the killing of each other. We're eliminating a whole generation. And Lord, you know that if the youth die off, then there is no future, because they are the ones who have to carry the baton. So I'm asking you, Lord, to enter their hearts and their minds, especially the gang culture. Help the gang culture know that they can bond together and build enterprises and give employment to each other and become wealthy through unity. Many other cultures have done that, have joined together and started businesses, and they even live 10 to an apartment just so that they could pool their money together to build up something long lasting that would help to feed them and to feed others. So revert that gang mindset from killing and robbing and doing things that are only going to get them in jail and dead, to becoming real conglomerates and real businesses that the police cannot harass them about. If you're doing the right thing, although the police do cross that line, they bother people who are not doing anything wrong. But for the most part, once you establish a business and you are legitimate, the police will not bother you because they will recognize, oh, that's Mr. Kanai. He owns that clothing company. So yeah, he's black, and but he's a businessman, so we can't really bother him. And they see these things, and they monitor you, because trust, now in this electronic age where everything is being tracked, they know what you're doing. It's not a secret. And especially if you're in front of the camera with loads of money in your hand and they know you don't have a legitimate business, well, you're showing them what you're doing. So help the youth to know that money is not the answer to all things. It answers some things. But without peace of mind, it's nothing. There are so many people who would have paid anything to not wind up in jail, to not have died before their time, to not have got caught up in something where they cannot undo what they did to another person. So Lord, open the eyes of the youth. Draw them to my channel so that they can see that what I'm spitting right now is real. I live this. It's not a game. It's by the grace of a merciful and forgiving God that I was delivered, that I am able to have the breath to talk to you about your life. Father, save them. Save as many as you can, Lord. I know you can save them all. Help them to see the error of their ways, that they have chosen the wrong path, but they can get off it while they still have life. Help the police to see that every black boy out there is not breaking the law. Oh, Father God, teach these ignorant people who only know black people based on what they've seen on TV and whatever prejudices that they've grown up with in their household. Teach them to recognize the difference. That yes, we're all black people, but we're not all the same. Father God, I thank you for the subscribers. I thank you for those who check in. I thank you for the young people who support my channel. And I thank you for your mercy and goodness in my life. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.